During the 2012 NBA All-Star Game, Kobe Bryant broke his nose after taking a hard foul from Dwyane Wade. But Kobe wasn't upset, and Kobe didn't complain. In fact, he told Wade later on that he loved it. Welcome back everyone to your #1 source for learning about everything related to sports injuries and sports medicine news. In this video, we're going to take a look back at Kobe Bryant's nose fracture that he suffered in the 2012 All-Star Game. This is a perfect injury story to tell right now because what happened after the game really solidified that Mamba mentality and just the type of player Kobe was. Especially now that the All-Star MVP award is going to be named in Kobe's honor, I hope that this injury story inspires you all as much as it's inspired me. Make sure and go subscribe if you like this type of content and want to stay up to date with my future videos, and let's get started. This was the play where Kobe's nose was broken. He basically drove past Dwyane Wade, and Wade's arm came down, hit him on the front of the face, and resulted in not just the nasal fracture, but also a concussion. The Lakers reported that after undergoing a CT scan, he did in fact have a broken nose, and the NBA world was then treated to mask Kobe Bryant. So where are the actual nasal bones that get broken in an injury like this? The majority of the structure of our nose is actually made up of cartilage, the same material that gives our ears that kind of bendable but firm type of feel. Also gives our nose its particular shape and appearance. But if we remove all that cartilage, we then get to see the actual bones that help make up the nose. The actual nasal bones themselves are thin bones that sit up at the bridge of our nose. You can feel them on yourself, sort of the lower half of your nose, you can kind of push it from side to side. But then as you work higher up, eventually you feel the firm nasal bones up at the top. But there are some other key bones involved when someone has a nose injury. If we take a cross-section directly through the middle of the nose, we can see some of those thinner structures. In yellow here at the top, we of course have those nasal bones, and you can see how really short they are and how they don't drop that far down in the nose. This green bone is called the Ethmoid Bone, and it's super thin and sits all the way deep in the back of the nose. The blue is the vomer bone, another thin one, and then the red is sort of the floor, which is the maxilla. That's our upper jawbone. The purple structure here in the middle is then our septum. The septum runs down the center of the nose and helps to divide the two nasal passages, and then it also forms a septal bone connection all the way at the back between the ethmoid bone and the vomer bone. When we hear classically someone has a nasal fracture, we of course think of the two nasal bones in yellow at the top, but you can also have injuries to these other thin bones that help give the nose its structure. If we look back at the play where Kobe got hurt, we can see more evidence that it likely makes sense to have been those nasal bones at the top. As opposed to being hit straight on in the front of the nose, Wade's arm comes down and basically looks like it strikes him right on where those nasal bones would sit, coming right down across the top. The treatment of most nasal fractures comes down to one of two options, either closed reduction or open reduction. Open versus closed means whether or not they had to cut into any of the structures to do more of a surgical type of intervention, and reduction is the act of getting everything back into proper alignment. Most of the time, a closed reduction is done when someone has some sort of anesthetic or anesthesia to minimize the pain, where the doctors go in, evaluate the alignment of these structures, and then simply push everything back into place without having to cut into the skin. We of course then see players wear these protective masks, which help to not only protect that structure from direct impact, but also kind of distribute any force or load throughout the rest of the bones in the face so that the ones that were broken don't take all that impact. Now, my favorite part of this whole story is what happened after Kobe broke his nose. Dwyane Wade called up Kobe Bryant after the fact and was shocked when Kobe said that he actually loved it when Wade broke his nose. Kobe, of course, balled out against Wade in the Heat when they played a number of games later, and while this response might have been surprising, if we think about that Mamba mentality and who Kobe is, we shouldn't have expected anything but this. No matter when or where Kobe stepped onto the court, he was gonna give it 100% and go all out because he knew that's what the game deserved and that's what the fans deserved. It didn't matter here that it was the All-Star game. He wanted himself and his competitors to give it their all and play with that intensity that they would during any other game. He wasn't going to accept anything less than 100% from himself and from the rest of the guys out there. And so when Dwyane Wade went at him hard, he respected that. He appreciated that part of the game. So now that the All-Star MVP award is going to be named in his honor, I think this is just a perfect story to remember during this time. I hope that this inspires guys to think back about that Mamba mentality, even when they're in the All-Star game, and really give that game the respect that it deserves and give it their all and go 100% when you're out there on the court. Even in his injuries, Kobe can continue to inspire us, and I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look back at this story. That's it for the video. Thank you as always for watching. Leave me any questions or comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for watching the entire video. If you haven't yet, make sure you go subscribe so you can stay up to date as soon as I drop my latest videos. Also, go check out some other videos that I think you might enjoy, and let's just continue this great learning experience together.